The Awakening. As the last remnants of humanity clung to a battered space station, a young engineer named Avery faced the fight of her life. The alien Xyrethi Armada had laid siege to their fragile outpost, seeking to crush the final vestiges of human resistance. Yet Avery refused to surrender. Her keen mind, fueled by desperation and an unbreakable spirit, raced to transform the scrap and debris around her into makeshift weapons. Scavenging through the station's underbelly, Avery unearthed an ancient magnetic coil, once used for cargo transport. With a few rewired circuits and a burst of creative ingenuity, she transformed the coil into a powerful electromagnetic pulse cannon. Rallying her fellow crew members, Avery led the charge, unleashing a barrage of electrified scrap that crippled the Xyrethi fighters, their advanced systems overwhelmed by the sudden EMP surge. As the battle raged on, Avery's resolve only grew stronger. She discovered that even the most innocuous items, a welding torch, a metal panel, a discarded power cell, could be repurposed into deadly instruments of defense. The humans' tenacity and adaptability caught the Xyrethi off guard. Their overwhelming military might reduce to a desperate struggle for survival. With each passing skirmish, Avery and her team honed their skills, learning to harness the very materials around them to create an ever-evolving array of makeshift armaments. The station's corridors became a chaotic symphony of clanging metal, sizzling electrical discharges, and the desperate shouts of both human and alien combatants. Yet, despite the chaos, Avery found a sense of exhilaration in the challenge. Her mind raced with possibilities, unlocking the hidden potential in the most mundane of objects. She knew that the fate of humanity rested on their ability to adapt, to transform the limitations of their environment into unexpected advantages. As the Xyrethi barrage continued, Avery and her crew fought with a renewed fervor, their improvised weapons proving to be a match for the alien invaders' advanced technology. The station shook with each impact, but Avery remained steadfast, her eyes alight with a determination that refused to be extinguished. In the end, it was the humans' unrelenting spirit and their ability to turn the seemingly useless into the devastatingly effective that turned the tide of the battle. The Xyrethi, stunned by the unexpected resilience and resourcefulness of their foes, were forced to retreat, their proud invasion thwarted by the sheer ingenuity of a handful of desperate survivors. As the dust settled, Avery surveyed the battered but defiant station, a small smile playing on her lips. She knew that this was only the beginning. The humans had awakened to a new power, one that would forever change the course of their struggle against the alien onslaught. The future, once bleak, now shone with a glimmer of hope, a hope fueled by the incredible potential of the human mind to transform anything into a lethal weapon. Scavenger's Cradle. In the aftermath of their unexpected victory, the crew of the battered space station knew they had to act quickly. The Xyrethi would return, and they needed to fortify their defenses before the next assault. Avery, now recognized as the leader of the makeshift resistance, rallied her crew and set them to the task of scouring the station's vast graveyard of discarded technology. What had once been a chaotic jumble of scrap and debris now became a treasure trove of potential. With renewed purpose, the humans dismantled and repurposed every last scrap they could find. Broken power cells were reconfigured into improvised explosives, while defunct thrusters were transformed into makeshift rocket launchers. Even the most innocuous items, such as discarded tools and worn-out cables, found new life as deadly close-quarters weapons. Avery's team worked tirelessly, their hands calloused and their faces etched with determination. They knew that every second counted, for the Xyrethi would not be caught off guard a second time. As the preparations progressed, Avery found herself drawn to a particularly intriguing piece of equipment, an old magnetic containment field generator, once used to maintain the station's atmosphere. Her mind raced with possibilities, and she quickly set to work, enlisting the help of her most skilled technicians. Days turned into weeks, and the station's once barren corridors transformed into a veritable scavenger's cradle. Makeshift armories lined the walls, each filled with an eclectic assortment of repurposed weapons and tools. The crew, once a ragtag group of survivors, had become a well-oiled machine, their movements precise and their determination unwavering. As the final touches were put in place, Avery stood back and surveyed her handiwork. The once vulnerable station now bristled with an array of defensive measures, each one a testament to the human spirit's ability to adapt and overcome. Yet even as she took pride in their accomplishments, a part of Avery couldn't help but wonder about the true cost of their victory. The Zirathi had been a formidable foe, and she knew that the next encounter would be even more brutal. The line between survival and annihilation had never been thinner. But Avery refused to be daunted. She had seen the true power of human ingenuity, and she knew that their greatest weapon was not the makeshift armaments that surrounded them, but the boundless creativity that burned within each and every one of her crew. As the station's alarm systems blared, signaling the return of the Zirathi Armada, Avery felt a surge of adrenaline. This was their moment. The moment to prove that the human spirit could not be broken, not even by the most formidable of alien invaders. With a steely gaze, Avery rallied her crew, their eyes shining with a newfound determination. They were no longer just survivors. They were the guardians of humanity's legacy, and they would fight with every fiber of their being to protect it. Forge of resilience. The Zirathi Armada descended upon the battered space station, their sleek, angular ships cutting through the void with effortless grace. Avery watched the tactical displays, her mind racing as she calculated their options. The human defenders had transformed the station into a veritable fortress, but even she knew that their makeshift defenses would be sorely tested against the alien juggernaut. As the Zirathi ships unleashed a barrage of plasma fire, Avery sprang into action, her voice echoing through the station's communication systems. All hands, prepare for battle. Divert all non-essential power to the defensive grid. Gunners, target their propulsion systems. We need to slow them down. The crew responded with practiced efficiency, their movements fluid and coordinated. Avery watched with a mixture of pride and trepidation as the station's repurposed weapons systems sprang to life, unleashing a torrent of scrap, energy bolts, and improvised explosives towards the oncoming alien armada. For a moment, it seemed as if the human defenses might hold. The Zirathi ships, unaccustomed to the relentless and unpredictable nature of the human arsenal, struggled to maintain their cohesion. Explosions rocked the armada, and several ships were forced to break off, their systems damaged by the onslaught. But the Zirathi were not to be underestimated. Quickly adapting to the new threat, they launched a concentrated assault, their powerful plasma beams carving through the station's outer hull. Avery gritted her teeth, watching as sections of the station began to crumble under the unrelenting barrage. "We can't hold them off much longer," one of her crew members reported, his voice tinged with desperation. "We need to find a way to turn the tide, or we're all going to be space dust." Avery's mind raced, her eyes darting across the tactical displays. It was then that she spotted it. A faint energy signature emanating from the station's core, a relic of the magnetic containment field generator she had been tinkering with. An idea began to form, one that was as audacious as it was risky. "Divert all available power to the containment field generator," she commanded, her voice steady and unwavering. "We're going to give those Zirathi a taste of their own medicine." The crew hesitated for a moment, sensing the danger in Avery's plan, but they knew they had no other choice. Frantically, they rerouted power, pouring every last ounce of energy into the ancient system. As the Zirathi ships pressed their assault, the station's defensive grid suddenly flickered and died, leaving the humans seemingly defenseless. But just as the alien invaders prepared to deliver the final blow, a massive, pulsating energy field erupted from the station's core, enveloping the entire structure in a shimmering barrier. The Zirathi ships, their advanced systems suddenly overwhelmed by the intense magnetic distortion, found themselves adrift, their movements erratic and uncontrolled. Avery watched with a grim determination as the human-made containment field tore through the alien armada, ripping their ships apart with devastating force. In the chaos, Avery caught a glimpse of the Xyrethi flagship, its massive cannons powering up for a final, devastating strike. Without hesitation, she issued a new order, her voice ringing with conviction. Target the flagship's main reactor. We're going to show these aliens what the forge of human resilience can create. The station's makeshift weapons, now empowered by the containment field's magnetic disruption, converged on the Xyrethi flagship. Explosions rocked the massive vessel, and in a blinding flash, it was consumed by a violent detonation, its destruction signaling the end of the alien onslaught. As the dust settled, Avery surveyed the battered but victorious space station, her eyes shining with a newfound pride. The humans had proven that they were more than just survivors. They were forge masters, capable of transforming the very elements of their environment into the tools of their salvation. In that moment, Avery knew that the future of humanity no longer rested on the whims of fate, but on the boundless ingenuity and resilience of the human spirit. The Xyrethi had learned a hard lesson, that to underestimate the power of human creativity was to court their own undoing. Echoes of triumph. The aftermath of the fierce battle against the Xyrethi armada left the human defenders of the battered space station both weary and triumphant. Avery, their de facto leader, surveyed the damage with a mixture of pride and trepidation. While they had emerged victorious, the cost had been steep, and she knew that the Xyrethi would not be easily deterred. As the crew worked tirelessly to repair the station's systems and fortify their defenses, Avery found herself drawn to the containment field generator, the very device that had turned the tide of the battle. Tracing her fingers along the intricate circuitry, she marveled at the sheer potential of the human mind to transform the seemingly mundane into the extraordinary. It was then that a thought occurred to her, one that ignited a spark of inspiration within her. What if we could harness this power, not just for defense, but for something more? She mused aloud, her eyes gleaming with a newfound determination. Assembling her most trusted engineers, Avery laid out her plan. They would not simply wait for the Xyrethi to return. Instead, they would take the fight to the enemy, using the station's modified containment field as a weapon of their own creation. The crew, already hardened by the crucible of battle, embraced Avery's audacious proposal with fervent enthusiasm. They quickly set to work, modifying the generator systems and integrating it with the station's existing weapons array. The once defensive system was transformed into a formidable offensive tool, capable of projecting a devastating magnetic pulse that could cripple even the mightiest of Xyrethi ships. As the final preparations were made, Avery stood at the helm, her gaze fixed on the vast expanse of space beyond the station's viewports. She knew that what they were about to attempt was a gamble, a bold strike that could either cement their victory or seal their doom. "This is it, crew," she announced, her voice carrying a weight of responsibility that belied her youth. "The Xyrethi have pushed us to the brink, and now it's time we show them the true power of human ingenuity. We're going to take the fight to their doorstep, and we're going to win." The crew erupted in a chorus of cheers, their spirits lifted by Avery's unwavering conviction. With a nod, she turned to the navigation console, her fingers dancing across the controls as she plotted a course deep into Xyrethi-held territory. The station's repurposed engines roared to life, propelling the battered but resolute human stronghold towards its target, a Xyrethi supply depot, a vital hub that sustained the alien invaders' vast military forces. As they approached, Avery's gaze hardened, her mind focused on the task at hand. "All hands, prepare the containment field generator," she ordered, her voice echoing through the station's communication systems. "On my mark, we unleash hell." The crew responded with unwavering efficiency, their movements precise and synchronized. Avery watched the tactical displays, her heart pounding in anticipation as the Xyrethi defenses came into view. "Mark," she shouted, and the station's modified containment field erupted in a dazzling display of energy, projecting a powerful magnetic pulse that swept through the Xyrethi depot like a devastating shockwave. The Xyrethi ships, Their advanced systems, rendered useless by the intense magnetic distortion, were helpless to resist as they were torn apart by the human-made weapon. Explosions rocked the depot, and Avery felt a surge of triumph as she witnessed the unfolding devastation. In that moment, the echoes of their previous victory reverberated through the void, a testament to the human spirit's ability to adapt, to innovate, and to overcome even the most formidable of challenges. Avery knew that this was only the beginning, that the Zirathi would soon learn that humanity was no longer content to merely survive, but to thrive, and to reclaim the stars that rightfully belonged to them. As the dust settled, Avery turned to her crew, a proud smile spreading across her face. "This is our moment, everyone. The Zirathi have felt the sting of our wrath, and now they know that we are more than just survivors. We are the masters of our own destiny. Let's show them what we're capable of." With renewed vigor, the human crew set to work, already planning their next bold strike against the Zirathi invaders. The future, once shrouded in uncertainty, now burned with the promise of triumph, fueled by the boundless ingenuity and resilience of the human spirit. Forging the alliance. As the echoes of their decisive victory against the Zirathi supply depot reverberated through the void, Avery and her crew found themselves facing a new challenge, one that would test the limits of their diplomacy and strategic thinking. Word of the human defenders' audacious exploits had spread, and soon, representatives from other beleaguered human colonies began to make contact. They were intrigued by the station's innovative defenses and the ingenious ways in which the crew had repurposed scavenged materials into formidable weapons. Avery, recognizing the potential for a united front against the Zirathi menace, welcomed these overtures with open arms. She knew that in order to truly turn the tide against the alien invaders, they would need to forge alliances, pooling their resources and skills to create a coordinated, multi-pronged assault. The negotiations were delicate, as each colony had its own needs, priorities, and concerns. But Avery's unwavering determination and her team's proven track record of innovation proved to be a powerful bargaining chip. Slowly but surely, she assembled a coalition of human settlements, each one contributing their unique expertise and resources to the growing resistance movement. As the alliance took shape, Avery oversaw the integration of the various colonies' technology and personnel, ensuring that their combined efforts would be seamless and efficient. She marveled at the sheer ingenuity on display, as her fellow engineers and scientists worked tirelessly to develop new and even more devastating weaponry, each one more creative and unexpected than the last. The Zirathi, once confident in their superiority, soon found themselves facing a formidable foe, a network of human settlements, united in their determination to reclaim their rightful place among the stars. Avery's tactical brilliance, combined with the collective resourcefulness of the alliance, proved to be a formidable combination. Through a series of carefully orchestrated strikes, the human forces slowly chipped away at the Zirathi stranglehold, disrupting their supply lines, crippling their shipyards, and sowing chaos within their ranks. The Zirathi, accustomed to overwhelming their opponents with sheer military might, found themselves increasingly bewildered by the humans' ability to adapt and innovate, turning even the most mundane of materials into devastating weapons. As the Alliance's victories mounted, Avery's reputation grew, and she became a symbol of hope for the beleaguered human colonies. With each successful operation, the crew, forging the Alliance. As the Alliance's victories mounted, Avery's reputation grew, and she became a symbol of hope for the beleaguered human colonies. With each successful operation, the crew's confidence and capabilities grew, fueled by the knowledge that they were not alone in their struggle. Crucial to their continued success was the free flow of information and resources between the Allied settlements. Avery oversaw the establishment of secure communication channels and logistics hubs, ensuring that the latest innovations and strategies were shared across the network. This collaborative approach proved to be a powerful force multiplier. As ideas and solutions spread rapidly, empowering each colony to contribute to the greater cause. One of the Alliance's most significant breakthroughs came in the form of a salvaged Xyrethi hyperdrive, recovered from a disabled enemy vessel. Avery's team of engineers, working around the clock, reverse-engineered the alien technology, and soon the human settlements were able to field their own fast-response strike forces, capable of rapidly deploying to critical battlefronts. With this newfound mobility, the Alliance launched a series of daring raids and hit-and-run attacks, targeting Xyrethi supply convoys, shipyards, and even their command centers. The sheer unpredictability and adaptability of the human forces proved to be a constant thorn in the side of the alien invaders, who struggled to counter the relentless onslaught. As the tide of the war turned in the humans' favor, Avery found herself in high demand. Her strategic insights and technical expertise, sought after by the leaders of the various colonies. She embraced this role, traveling between settlements, sharing her knowledge and inspiring others to push the boundaries of what was possible. Through her tireless efforts, Avery forged not just an alliance of human colonies, but a true camaraderie, a shared sense of purpose and identity that transcended the boundaries of individual settlements. The humans, once isolated and vulnerable, now stood united, their collective ingenuity and resilience a formidable force against the Xyrethi invaders. In the midst of this burgeoning alliance, Avery received a startling communication, a plea for help from an unexpected source. A group of Xyrethi defectors, disillusioned by their species' relentless aggression, had reached out, seeking refuge and a chance to turn the tide against their former kin. Avery, recognizing the potential value of this opportunity, immediately convened a council of the Alliance's leaders. After heated debates and careful consideration, they made the bold decision to extend a hand of cooperation to the Xyrethi dissidents, a move that would forever change the course of the conflict. As the Alliance's forces rallied to welcome the Xyrethi defectors, Avery felt a surge of cautious optimism. This unorthodox alliance could be the key to finally breaking the Xyrethi's grip on the human colonies and perhaps even forge a path to a lasting peace. With renewed determination, she set her sights on the future, ready to lead her fellow humans and their newfound Xyrethi allies into the next chapter of their struggle for survival and freedom. Forging a new future, the alliance between the human colonies and the Xyrethi defectors proved to be a pivotal turning point in the ongoing conflict. Avery, at the center of this historic partnership, oversaw the integration of the two vastly different societies, navigating the delicate political and cultural landscapes with a deft hand. The Xyrethi dissidents, once viewed with suspicion and trepidation, quickly proved their worth. They shared invaluable intelligence about Xyrethi military operations, tactics, and vulnerabilities, allowing the human forces to adapt and plan their strikes with surgical precision. But the collaboration went far beyond mere strategic advantages. As the humans and the Xyrethi worked side by side, a remarkable transformation began to take place. Prejudices were challenged, misconceptions were shattered, and a genuine understanding began to emerge between the two peoples. Avery, ever the visionary, saw this as an opportunity to not just win the war, but to forge a lasting peace. She convened a series of high-level discussions, bringing together the Alliance's leaders and the Xyrethi defectors to explore a path forward that would benefit both their peoples. The negotiations were arduous, with both sides having to confront deeply ingrained biases and preconceptions. But Avery's unwavering commitment to finding a resolution, coupled with the growing trust and respect between the humans and the Xyrethi, slowly chipped away at the barriers. As the discussions progressed, a bold and ambitious plan began to take shape, one that would not only end the conflict, but also pave the way for a future of cooperation and mutual prosperity. The Xyrethi defectors would assist the human alliance in crippling the Xyrethi military machine, while the humans, in turn, would provide the defectors with the resources and support they needed to establish a new independent Xyrethi civilization. With the support of the alliance's leaders, Avery spearheaded the execution of this plan, coordinating the strategic strikes and diplomatic overtures that would bring the war to a decisive conclusion. The battles that followed were fierce and hard-fought, but the combined forces of the humans and the Xyrethi defectors proved to be an unstoppable juggernaut. As the Xyrethi invaders were finally pushed back and their military might shattered, Avery stood amidst the rubble of the final confrontation, a triumphant smile on her face. The war, once a seemingly insurmountable challenge, had been won through the power of human ingenuity, resilience, and the willingness to forge unlikely alliances. But Avery's vision extended far beyond the end of the conflict. She knew that the true test lay in the aftermath, in the ability of the humans and the Xyrethi to build a lasting peace and a shared future among the stars. With the support of the Alliance, Avery worked tirelessly to establish diplomatic channels, economic ties, and cultural exchanges between the two civilizations. It was a slow and arduous process, fraught with setbacks and challenges, but her unwavering determination never wavered. Slowly but surely, the seeds of understanding and cooperation took root. The Xyrethi defectors, now leading their own independent nation, became valued partners in the alliance, sharing their knowledge and resources to the mutual benefit of all. As the years passed, Avery watched with pride as the once bitter enemies forged a new path, one that celebrated their differences while embracing their shared humanity. The alliance, once a necessary means of survival, had evolved into a beacon of hope, a testament to the transformative power of human ingenuity and the willingness to transcend the boundaries of prejudice and mistrust. And at the heart of it all stood Avery, a symbol of the human spirit's capacity to adapt, to innovate, and to forge a future where the impossible becomes reality. Her legacy would echo through the stars, inspiring generations to come to never underestimate the boundless potential of the human mind and the unbreakable strength of the human will.